Alright, again, I'm never sure if it's actually streaming when I first start because it takes a while for OBS to connect with YouTube. But hello everyone, it's me, it's Joelle. I'm back live streaming. I know it has been a long time since I've streamed. I've just been super busy with school and traveling. I've been gone for the past few weekends, going home for these trips to San Francisco, which I'll talk about, and I visited Dartmouth, which I also want to talk about, and just been like kind of crazy, and I haven't been able to just sit down and chat and talk about what's been going on in life and stuff. And I think I'm going to start curating these live streams a little bit more to be catered towards people who watch later, who hop on not at the time of my live stream, because I realize that a lot of times when I'm free to just do these casual videos like this are not always times when people are down to sit down and watch a live stream. But I do like, oh, it's Isaac. What's up, Isaac? I just started this. Hello. Isaac is one of the people on the San Francisco trips that I've been going on. And yeah, I think I just want to catch up people with where I've been, just because, yeah, I kind of fell off the live streaming train, but I have a lot of things I just want to talk about and get on the channel that I haven't been able to put in a regular video. Largely because I've been behind on editing, also from being busy and whatnot. But yeah, as usual, for those of you guys who have never watched like my little recap videos that I do live like this, I just use these live streams to talk about the more casual things that are going on in my life. I don't always mention everything that goes on in my vlogs of BSSM, just because there's a lot to talk about, and I feel like it's always changing, and this is something that I think is more fun and engaging in a conversation. So for those of you guys watching, welcome to the people who just hopped on. Feel free to like engage in ask questions or whatever, but I'm just going to be talking about stuff that I've been learning, stuff that God's been sharing with me. So here goes nothing. Actually, I have my little notebook. I'm gonna go grab it. Also, this is a new angle. Welcome to our humble abode. You can see into our bedroom there, so that's a little weird, but it's fine. Okay, I also have potato chips, so that's always fun to have with me while I'm streaming. But in this notebook is where I take notes from school, and a fun little thing that we had recently was Purity Week at BSSM, and for those of you guys who are like, what the heck is that? Oh my gosh, Isaac, who's your favorite Australian at BSSM? That's my third year, but you're close. My third year, Cherie. I'd have to say her. She's my favorite Australian, but, you know, there are a few that are a close second. But anyways, Isaac's just being cheeky in the chat, y'all. But we had a crazy week called Purity Week, like I mentioned, where we literally talk about sex for the entire week. I know that sounds really weird because you're like, you're in ministry school, why are you talking about sex all the time? But they actually gave really, really interesting insight just as to like, what does a healthy relationship look like, especially in the Christian world? And yeah, Isaac is lurking. Hi, Isaac. Thanks for lurking. I hope you're enjoying lurking. And to those of you who are not Isaac watching this, you can enjoy Isaac's lurking or join him. But yeah, so Purity Week, like I mentioned, or Sex Week as some people talk about it, they really just go over all these topics that are never really mentioned in the church. Whether it's like sex, like what parts of sex are considered sinful? Is it just like explicit sex that you think of generically, or is everything leading up to it? And it really was helpful in understanding why biblically they say that you should strive for purity, like, and all the benefits that purity can bring to a relationship. I'm just gonna be eating while I'm talking. I'm sorry, I'm hungry. But they had amazing speakers like Haviland Cunningham, Colin Caitlin Zick, and Abby Strumwall, I think her name was. Oops, I just hit my computer. But they talked about the importance of intimacy in relationship and why that is so essential before the physical engagement, before anything else, is to know how to be intimate without all of that, with all of like the confusion and whatever that sexual intimacy can bring, and how it can be a hindrance to have physical intimacy with someone out of time or out of place with someone when you don't have the emotional intimacy and covenant relationship of a marriage. And all these amazing couples like gave their testimonies of like their walks in purity or not purity, and then later finding out what purity looks like and that sort of thing. It was just very inspiring to see people who actually did that, who actually did walk in purity successfully and saw like the fruit of how beautiful and hurt-free their relationship was. Because I feel like nowadays in our society, in our you know, very sex-obsessed youth culture, there's no examples of what it looks like to live in purity in people that we admire, like in the mainstream or whatever, you know? So that was awesome, and I just loved hearing about why God just intended for humans to have certain levels of intimacy with people in the appropriate times, and that it can be amazing, and that you don't have to have stress about your sex life with people, because that's not what we were created for. We weren't created to have physical intimacy without the emotional support and intimacy of a covenant relationship. And I'm just like, dope, that's good to know, and it clears a lot of stress for people who might have been confused about that. It's fun to share with my boyfriend and talk to him about that. So that was really cool. Also, it's funny for those of you who are watching this not saying anything in the stream. I hope you guys are cool with me talking about sex, because no one's saying anything, but I'm gonna assume that you guys are cool with it if you're still here watching. But I think essentially purity is a topic that's never really breached in the world ever. Like in the church when we talk about it, it's normally just like, sex is bad, don't have sex. We don't get to hear all the good parts of like why it's awesome to live a pure life and why it's great to have your relationship in alignment with what God intended, because then you get to reap all the benefits and rewards of having a right relationship before God, and just why that's beautiful and can excel your relationship closer towards your destiny in God, but in relation with your partner. So I thought that was just really cool, and I'm really glad that they talked about it, because Bethel dating culture is really interesting. Obviously, like, people do try to like strive for purity and whatnot, but a lot of people are out here trying to get cuffed. So like, I think marriage is a really pertinent topic here at Bethel. I hope, Isaac, if you're still watching, that you can agree with me that people, I don't know, marriage and dating, it can come up a lot. Not like necessarily between students, like all trying to date or whatever, but like just in topics of when we all talk in class or whatever. Chris, one of the leaders of the school, is always like, okay, grab the hand of the person next to you, we're going to pray. And squeeze your hand if you want to date them. And, oh my gosh, hi, Liz! And Maddie! Oh my gosh, you're awesome. And Katie, thank you so much for talking about this. I feel like there's a lot of times people try to avoid this subject. Yeah, I'm so comfortable talking about sex. So, I'm glad that you guys are fine with me talking about this. And to Liz and Maddie, I hope you guys are fine hearing me talk about sex also, because it is a really important topic, and people don't understand the gravity of what sex is and what it does to you emotionally and spiritually. So I think it's really cool to understand that, like, they call them soul ties essentially, but when you are physically intimate with someone, psychologically, Maddie just spit out her boba, lol. Sorry, Maddie. But yeah, they talk about these things called soul ties here at BSSM, and it's basically how when you're physically intimate with someone, psychologically and chemically, it creates a bond with someone that's just like, if you studied, I think it's like moles, a certain type of rodent that's really good at creating oxytocin, I think is the chemical that bonds people together. I forget. But yeah, there's a level of intimacy created and established, and you give part of yourself to someone else, and yeah, and that creates a lot of tension when it's not in a relationship bound by marriage, because someone else has part of your soul, spirit, and they can just walk away and go wherever they want. For example, in frat life, frat culture, for those of you guys who are familiar with Dartmouth, the school that I've been at, is that Yeah, one night stands and just hooking up, casual hookups, casual sex or whatever, it's very pertinent, very popular. Um, and I never wanted to partake in that because I just saw like a lot of hurt that came out of it, and like due to my previous days in high school when I was less aware of the gravity of what it meant to live a pure life, I definitely did things that I regretted, and it like hurt me in such a deep way that I didn't understand. And now I'm like, oh, that's because I literally felt like my soul or spirit was being ripped from me in a certain way when I was rejected by someone that I did something that I probably shouldn't have with, and that was bad. And for clarification, I'm totally comfortable talking about this. I have not had sex with anyone because that's just like a personal decision. I can make a whole video on why I have made that decision personally, but yeah, even things beneath having sex, like just any kind of physical intimacy, causes some problems spiritually. So it's really cool to understand like the theology and like the biblical context of why that's the case. And I think Bethel did a really good job of teaching that to a bunch of younger kids. Younger as in like early 20s, just out of high school, late 20s, you know, around that. And Woo asked what happened to the giveaway, and the giveaway answer was announced on my Instagram. So I announced it on Instagram and Twitter, and it was, I forget, was it Catherine something who won? But she has the code to get the glasses that she won, but thank you to everyone who entered the giveaway, of course. Yeah, but anyways, that was like the fun part of Purity Week, but I also want to talk about my visit to Dartmouth because that was so fun. So for those of you guys who don't follow me on like Instagram or Twitter or whatever, I was able to go back and visit my school, Dartmouth, which I make a ton of videos about when I'm there. Sorry, I'm just checking my phone, which I shouldn't be while I'm live streaming, but I was able to visit a couple weeks ago, just for the weekend to say hi to people. It wasn't like a big weekend or anything, but I was just going because I hadn't seen my friends since summer, and a lot of them since last spring, and all of my class basically is going to be off campus during the winter because they'll all be like working or interning somewhere, because that's just what Dartmouth juniors do, and I'm a junior. So I wanted to see everyone before they all disband, and I was going to visit during homecoming weekend, which is like the big weekend, but I was visiting Sean that weekend. That was the weekend I was in Seattle. So finally got to see everyone, and it was honestly mind-blowing just how loved I felt by everyone there. Liz and Maddie, if you guys are still watching, I missed y'all so much. It was so good to see everyone, and I don't know, in like the spiritual sense, I feel like God just showed me so much that weekend about what He was preparing me for to go back to. In that, okay, this is kind of lame, but I really didn't expect to have people be as excited to see me as they were. I know that sounds like really weird and kind of like a self-call, but like I swear that's not what I'm trying to do. But I literally really just felt like so honored to be missed by people and like loved by people, and the fact that people were so excited to see me meant so much to me. So thank you to anyone who I saw. I hope some of you guys are watching this. But I got to meet a lot of 21s, aka freshmen, current freshmen at Dartmouth that watch my videos, and that was a huge honor as well. Just the fact that they were excited to see me, the fact that they knew who I was before I even met them, but they would introduce themselves to me and be like, oh my gosh, Joelle, this is going to sound so weird, but I watch your videos, and I was like, no, it's not weird at all because you're like the 5,000th person to say that to me. But it just felt so sweet and amazing to know that like despite being away, people can receive something from the videos I posted. Oh my gosh, Evelyn says hi. Well, she says yay, and she's an amazing 21 that I got to meet while I was visiting Dartmouth. But it's just for anyone who makes YouTube videos, or anyone, you can probably imagine just how it feels to go back somewhere and have people kind of know who you are because you make YouTube videos and have people really appreciate the content that you put out. It was just so amazing and such an honor, and I felt so blessed to meet everyone and to be welcomed back like that. But also it was really interesting because a lot of friends were going through a really hard time during this term. Just junior fall is not known to be a super fun, awesome term for people. Like, it can be a really rough time. So it honestly kind of broke my heart to hear about how some of my friends had been doing, just going through struggles, whether it was like mental health issues or just stress from school and work and everything. But I felt like I was really glad to be there and see them and not be in the environment of like the stress and not let that affect me. So I felt like I had an unlimited amount of time to just pour into my friends and like encourage them and let them get stuff off their chest, and know that they could trust me with it because I'm not like in that environment. I'm like pretty separate. So there's no reason for them not to like share things with me and whatnot. It just was so heartwarming to know or to feel like I could be there for people, because that was something that I was kind of stressed about coming to Bethel and being away from people, so that like I didn't want my friends to feel like I abandoned them. But actually I felt like leaving and coming back, it gave a better reason to have really much deeper conversations and just like a greater depth of interaction during the limited time that I did have with them. And that was awesome, just like being reminded of how close I am with these people and how much they know me and how well they know me just after living together for the past 2 years was pretty amazing. Just the level and the depth of relationships that you build with people in college, like, it's incredible. Obviously I have amazing friends here at Bethel, but these friends have seen me through so much, and they've seen me from my low points to my high points to where I am now, you know? So just a different kind of interaction. And yeah, I don't know, I just felt God's presence so strong on me while I was there. I know that's weird to some people, and you probably don't really understand what I mean, but I really just mean that, I just, like, it's like a knowing. It's a knowing that God's with me and that He's there at Dartmouth, and I could feel His heart for Dartmouth, and that He just loves everyone there so unconditionally. And it made me want to love everyone at Dartmouth unconditionally, despite, like, the things that previously frustrated me about the campus, whether it's like the annoying frat culture that can be really destructive, or just like the stress and whatever that made me previously like kind of resentful. Where I'm sure you guys remember hearing me complain about Dartmouth sometimes, but there are definitely times where I would complain about the culture or whatever, or the academics and all of that. But just, I feel like having God's heart for the campus made me just love it and want to like love everyone and want to express my love to everyone, which is kind of different because it's really easy for me to become like resentful or salty or whatever, and there's just no need for that when I have God's love like flowing through me and coming out of me. So that was just so encouraging, and I got to go to like Agape's small group. Agape is one of the Christian organizations on campus, and meet an alum who is from the Bay Area, or he lived in the Bay Area, and really strong Christian, and that was just awesome as well. And it's really cool to see what he was helping lead on campus as he's like there just for the time being as part of the Christian community. So it was interesting just seeing that. I feel like there are little seeds being planted on Dartmouth campus, just in the Christian communities, and also just like between friends and my relationships, that I feel like I'm able to provide something for them or like be a support for them despite being away, which is so like such a relief for me personally, because that's something that I was worried about, was like I'm losing time with my friends. I don't get to be as entrenched or influential in the communities, and that, oh, God just showed me that He's got everything taken care of. And I felt like really throughout my time there, He was just saying like, I am the author of time. You don't have to worry about the losing time by going to Bethel. Like, by going to BSSM, you lost nothing and gained everything, which is so encouraging and inspiring to me, because, yeah, I could just relax knowing that I didn't lose my junior year by taking a gap year. I really just gained all the skills I have, the stability of a more grounded faith, and that's just, yeah, I am so thankful, and it's just something that can't be replaced at all. Oh, Gummy Art says hello. Hello, Gummy Art. Very interesting username handle. But yeah, so it was just an amazing trip, and I think also going through, like, I'm not gonna lie, there are times, no, the time when I was driving to the airport to go to Dartmouth. I was so excited, but it was right during all of the Kappa elections for my sorority, and I feel like there were all these things racing through my mind right before leaving for Dartmouth that were just like, oh my gosh, because I'm gone, I don't get to engage in these elections, I don't get to be part of the leadership board, I don't get to be on leadership for my dance group, I just don't get to do all these things that I thought were so important that would be like the culmination of my senior year, since a lot of times in college, the way that we like track our success in our engagement, like if we're using our time well, is whether we are in a position of power by the time we graduate. Like by senior year, are you the president of something? Did you make it to the top of whatever organization that you are in? I realized on the car ride home, as people were getting slated for exec positions in Kappa, that like I don't get to really be part of that. Like that is not what like that's sort of like out of the books since I'm away and I do go and I'm not engaging in the communities in the same way that I would have been if I were on campus. But I feel like through my time there and at Dartmouth, God was just showing me that my culmination of my experience at Dartmouth is not rooted in the positions that I have or the titles, but it's really rooted in the relationships that I have taken the time to build and that I get to continue to build even despite being away. And the influence that I'm gaining, whether it's through YouTube or just the way I treat people and all of that, that I don't lose it. Like that is not the scale that I'm ranking my success on at Dartmouth. It's not how many titles I have or how many things I get to say that I'm the president of. It's really just like the quality of my relationships and my friendships and the influence that I have on the campus that doesn't necessarily need to be quantified, because I know that a lot of times it's really easy to quantify the titles and whatnot, because it's you get to put on your resume, you get to tell people, oh yeah, I do this, this, and this, and it's a lot harder to say, well, I just really wanted to invest in my relationships, and that doesn't look good on a resume, it doesn't get you a job. But I feel like God really had to rework in me the grading system of my success and what I want to consider as being what I was working towards, like what my goal was by the time I leave Dartmouth. And I was really thankful for that weekend to just have God show me, like, it's okay, like, this is how amazing it feels to be walking with me at Dartmouth and to not be worrying about the elections for certain things or being nominated to be a leader for something, because I have the leadership of God and I can rely on Him to bring me to the places that He wants me to be, and it'll be so much more fulfilling to be working on His team rather than for myself and for bringing myself glory or prestige or whatever. And that with that, I can just rely on Him for all of my career things as well, which was awesome. Just this week, this past week, I had been sort of freaking out because I've been using this time at Bethel really to focus on like film work, artistic stuff, just trying to master certain crafts of things, whether it's photography, film, like media, all of that, that I'm like, okay, well, I have all this extra time since I'm not doing school, so I should work on it to get good at those. Particularly film, since that's what I want to study and go into. But I was chosen to be a small group leader, which is like small, like Bible study kind of thing, leader in my revival group, which is supposed to be a really big honor. And I was honored that I was chosen by my pastors and whatnot. But I was also like, oh my gosh, I'm so annoyed because the times that the leaders meet is right during the film apprenticeship that I'm in. Through my creative track at Bethel, and I was like, oh my gosh, God, what the heck? I'm supposed to be studying film here, I'm supposed to be working on all of that, and I was so frustrated that I felt like it was conflicting, and I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be really thankful that I get to be a leader for a small group, but I'm also losing my time learning about film by doing this. So I was like, I don't know why this is happening, I'm annoyed, I can't really get out of it. I just kind of had a bad attitude about it. And then literally the next day, through the media apprenticeship I'm in, I was like one of the women who's the head of like creative arts ministry at Bethel and has her own ministry, does a lot in art. She has her own like store and ministry, and she travels and is just a really good leader. She was like, hey, I'm looking for some interns for my media since we're trying to expand the website, revamp the Instagram, all this stuff. Would you be interested in joining me? And I was like, oh shoot, like she just low-key offered me a job or like an internship, unpaid because it's just like volunteer work, classic unpaid internship. But I was like, this is a huge honor to be asked by her to help me do that, to like help her do this. And they basically, like, her two current interns were like, okay, let us know how much free time you have. We will fill all of that free time with work for her. And I was just like, man, like, I really just got so blessed with this, you know, this opportunity to be able to work for her, have like a real media internship that I can put on my resume, that I can say I've done and gain more experience and learn on the job for. And I know totally didn't expect it. Like, I didn't expect media to be like a big part of what I'd be doing here. I thought it was gonna be like film focused. And then later, hello, Lydia's back. Oh, and Jess, I'm live streaming. Say hi, guys.
Whoa, wait, oh my god, it's all like opposite.
Sorry, it's here.
Hi.
Ah, Lydia's the roommate and Jess is a biffle, and I'm literally just talking about like what I've been learning this past week and whatnot. But yeah, and it's Lydia's birthday. Happy birthday, Lydia! But yeah, I'm gonna be done soon. Don't worry. I'm just talking about the Teresa stuff. But yeah, so it was throughout that time that I was like, wow, God really has his hand on like what I'm doing in like my career and stuff. And someone prophesied after, well, the leader of the film apprenticeship prophesied after, like, I feel like that despite the need or the want to be involved in film and pursuing film, that God's going to take you down all these different roads and you don't know what it's going to look like. You don't know what he's going to bring you into, and all of the little things along the way are often just part of the plan, or they are just part of the plan, his plan, to bring you to where he wants you to be. And we can't always rely on our own understanding of what that path looks like, but when you know that God's got you, like, you can just trust all the little twists and turns are exactly what he intended you to have. So that was just such a relief and so awesome to hear, and I was so happy. And yeah, I just can really relax and just know, like, yeah, God has got me. Like, I really don't need to worry about what direction I'm going in, because I am pursuing these different crafts and I have a lot of options, and I can just rest knowing that, yeah, Jesus is taking care of it, and it's my job to steward the gifts that he's given me and be responsible with my time and my effort. But I can relax and know that, like, for when opportunities arise and doors are open and closed, that, yeah, I can trust what he's doing. So that is sort of the rundown of what I've been learning and experiencing these past couple weeks at BSSM. I hope you guys have enjoyed this live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, even though it was a random time. I didn't announce it, weirdly, in the afternoon on a Sunday, so I know it's sort of like a smaller crowd, but I appreciate every one of you that came and watched during the live stream or are watching later on, just to hear about what BSSM has been doing for me and my life, and just everything that I've been appreciating and enjoying. Again, I hope that you guys will be able to subscribe and check back. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Okay, before I go, Katie says, so amazing to see how God is using your time at Bethel. I applied to Dartmouth ED 22. Ooh, good luck. I really hope the best for you. And was wondering, do you think it's possible to have a social life apart from the Greek system? And okay, yeah, really quick before I go, yes, absolutely, Greek life is not everything at Dartmouth. There is so much to do socially, especially in the Christian communities and any extracurricular that is a solid community. And Greek life is definitely not the only thing. Like, the majority of my friends I had before I rushed, and that's why it's so good that you rush only when you're a sophomore, not a freshman. So then freshman year, you make some amazing friends, and you get involved in a number of organizations, and so that you have a solid foundation of a social group before you rush, and you can just bring that with you if you rush or not rush. And either way, you will have friends. You will make amazing, strong connections and be a part of really supportive community, so you do not need to worry about that at all. And she says, sorry for catching you as you're about to go. No worries. I'm glad I could answer your question before I leave. But yeah, I think it's time for me to go and get on and edit my Dartmouth vlog, which I'm so excited for you guys to see, so hopefully that'll be up soon. Yeah, I love you guys all so much. Thank you for tuning in with me, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!